Hey everyone, this is just a quick snapshot on business objective diagrams, and we're going to start with profit maximization as a business objective. So you draw your Y and X axis, followed by your average revenue curve, which is also your demand curve, and you also draw your marginal revenue curve, which is twice as steep as average revenue. This is then followed by your average cost curve and your marginal cost curve, which, as you can see, cuts the average cost curve at the lowest possible point. Now remember, we're doing profit maximization. So what we're interested in here is the production point where MC crosses MR. That's really crucial that you remember that MC equals MR. You find that on the diagram, and as you can see, I've highlighted that in red. And then you draw your equilibrium. So you take it down to the x-axis and find out the quantity. You take it all the way up to the demand curve, the average revenue curve, and that will give you the price at that quantity in order to profit maximize. Now, as you can see, the rectangle box P times Q shows you the total revenue. Now, we're looking for profit, so we have to also identify the cost, and you do this by going back to MC equals MR and taking that up to the AC curve. As you can see, I've highlighted it there, and then labeling that as C, okay? You must go to the average cost curve, not the marginal cost curve. Then the rectangle box we're left with basically is super normal profits. And you can see I've highlighted it by shading it in. Now, you don't have to shade it in. You can do your corners, identify your corners, but shading it in is also perfectly acceptable. And that essentially is your diagram for profit maximization. It shows the firm who's looking to maximize profits. Now, finally, just some information on efficiencies, because efficiencies can be an evaluation argument for all diagrams. This diagram, you can see, is not allocatively efficient, it's not productively efficient, it is not X-efficient, but it is dynamically efficient. Now, the condition for dynamic efficiency is that you have to be making supernormal profits. Therefore, this organization is making supernormal profits, and it can afford to be dynamically efficient, which basically means that it's going to be reinvesting profits into R&D and innovation. It does this in order to reduce the long-run average cost of production, which basically means that in the long term, it's going to be making more profits, supernormal profits. However, there's an evaluation argument that you have to consider with dynamic efficiency, which is that firms who make supernormal profits may not be dynamically efficient because they choose instead to use the profits in order to pay off their shareholders in the largest amounts of dividends possible. So if firms do that and pay off their shareholders, actually, they can't be dynamically efficient because they've used the money in a different way. That is your diagram on profit maximization.